All right, everyone, welcome back. Let's wait for more people to join back in. I hope you're able to get to meet and discuss with a few people during the breakout room session. All right, I think more people are back. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. At this point, I would like to call on Isaac. Is Isaac here? So the next session is going to be talking about, just give me a second. The next session is going to be talking about studying locally and abroad, university application process. So some people are currently in undergraduate level and they want to move to postgraduate level. Some people are in high school and want to move to undergraduate level. Some people even want to do PhDs. So today we're going to be discussing the university application process for both local and abroad study. So at this point in time, is he here? Let me see if Isaac is here, if he can unmute himself so that he can start off as the moderator for this session. Isaac, can you hear?
Hello.
Okay, great.
Yes, I'm here. Can I start now, please?
Yes, you can begin.
Thank you so much. So let me say good afternoon from Liberia. It is now 3 minutes after 2 p.m. Of course, we are in West Africa. So it's actually a pleasure being here at this time. And let me say thanks so very much to the organizers of this summit. So just before we begin, I will actually want to give you a brief, overview of this summit for some of you who are just joining. This summit is called the We Lead, We Educate Educational Global Education Summit, and of course, it's 2024, and it is a full-day virtual event that is organized by the College Guard Africa, which is an educational guidance development initiative. So someone will want to ask, what do we hope to achieve? So this summit aims to provide guidance and support for high school students, university students, young professionals, parents, educators, and stakeholders. But then we are focused on helping students transition from secondary education to higher education in the workspace. So that is what briefly it is like. Of course, I am Mobile Isaac Plomo, and I'm going to be your moderator for this section, which specifically has to do with studying locally and abroad. And we have a strong emphasis on the university application process. So for those of you who are graduated from the secondary and you are up to your university, that is the tertiary, obtaining your tertiary education, I think this is a great opportunity for you. So again, we have key objectives. One has to do with us equipping students for the skills needed for the 21st century, and we have a whole lot. And then another one really has to do with promoting mental health and well-being for youth. So the youth, of course, if you are here, this is a platform that you will never want to miss. So let us go strictly to the point today. We have the honor to have three key speakers, or three speakers who are going to be panelists on this discussion. And we have one, Philip Anderson Samura. So Philip is going to be one of our speakers for this section, and he's a student. Sorry, he's a staff, of course, a student, yeah, at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. He's going to be elaborating on this topic. We're also going to have another speaker, Faith Abuti. If I didn't pronounce your name properly, you can also be able to come up when you are being given the opportunity. So Faith is a health master's student, of course, public health mentor students at the GYA, that is the Global Youth Ambassador, their work. So following that will be Mr. Akoima, Clady, Akesinya. So these are going to be our 4 speakers for today. So let me say you are all welcome as we go into delving into what we are actually going to be doing. So of course, you've listened to the first section we've all followed, and of course, questions came about from different areas. But then this section is going to be focused on the differences between local and international universities in terms of university selection process and strategies for securing scholarships. So we're going to have 3 key topics that are going to be discussed here. And the first topic is actually going to be about the university applications. Another topic, of course, is going to be about scholarships and financial aid, and of course, navigating cultural differences abroad. With that being said, I want to start off firstly giving the opportunity to our speakers to be able to go directly into their points of discussion. So please, at this time, I want to start off firstly with Philip, and then it will go down to Faith, and of course, Akesia. So the first question that we'll be attempting is, what is one thing every student should know if they are applying to university at any level, be it undergraduate, master's, or PhD? So Philip, if you are here, you can start off with that question as we go through the rounds of questions, please.
Yeah, and thank you so very much, Isaac, for the introduction and for giving us like an overview of what we aim to achieve today. And just maybe a disclaimer as well, I am not an expert with regards to studying abroad. I would only like share my thoughts and my experiences with you. So just so like the audience knows. And with regards to one thing, I think like every applicant or potential applicant should know, I would say, as simple as it may seem, is to know exactly why you are applying. Know why you are applying. And what I've seen over the years is that people tend to focus more on the final step than the steps or the preceding steps or the steps that actually lead to the final one. So what am I saying here? I remember back then in Sierra Leone, meanwhile I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa, we share border with Liberia, Isaac's country. So when I was in Sierra Leone and trying to apply for like an undergrad, I realized that I was all over the place, like submitting applications to different universities, different like institutions. I tend to pay little or no attention with regards to the fundamental reason why I was submitting my application. And as a matter of fact, I got rejected for a number of like schools, a number of like programs and a whole lot of things. But again, I kept on applying and I came back to the drawing board, understood like the basic concept or the fundamental reason why I was applying. And fortunately for me, like I got an admission with a fully funded scholarship. So as much as the pressure may be there to like begin a new chapter in your life, it could be an undergrad, it could be like your master's program, it could be like a PhD. I think the most fundamental question should always be like, why am I applying for this program? It is only when you are able to clarify that aspect, or when you are able to clarify that question, then I think you would be in a better position to then submit your application, because the motive with regards to why you are applying would also shape like your how is it called, your statement of purpose. The motive would also like inform your the recommenders you would choose. The motive would also inform the type of program you are applying for. The motive would also inform like the university you are applying to. So I think at like the fundamental level, the primary thing all applicants, I believe, should know when it comes to the application process is to know like why they are applying. So at this point, that's it on my end.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that splendid explanation from your end. Do we have Faith? Faith, can you kind of respond to this question? It's actually a general question to all of you, our panelists.
Yeah, hi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. So I would like to correct, you said, so my name is Faith Ibitoye. So thank you so much for having me on this program. I really appreciate it a lot. So just to answer the question about one thing every student should know when you're applying to university, I think Philip did a very good job answering that question. But one thing I also want to emphasize from what he said was be clear about what you want to do, in applying to the schools. Be clear about your course, be clear about the requirements it takes for you to apply to the school, because applying takes your time, it takes your energy, it takes your brain work, and you wouldn't want to waste those energy on something you would not see the fruit, you would not see benefit at the end of the day. So really put effort in what you really want to do. Find out what you really want to gain from that thing. If it's research you want to do, find out the professors or the supervisors that align with those interests. Many of us might think of this term that I just want to leave the country. I just want to take any course that it is. But it's not just like that, because when you find yourself in a very uncomfortable place, you would not, give the appropriate work or the appropriate contribution it requires. So the professors or the people you want to work with, they want to know that, okay, you are capable of this, because that's why you said you want to come, right? So you have to know that interest you are, and try to apply to those schools that take your interest, that has those interests of yours. And another thing I'm going to mention is that it takes time. It really takes time. Like for me, I'm studying in the US, and I can say that my application process didn't just start like last year. It started way back. So just try to, don't be discouraged, just continue on the path, just try to keep up with the things you are doing. It takes your time, it takes your money, it takes your brain work, it takes you to be on time at all time. So for me to say it takes time, that means you have to know that you have to start the process early. Start every process early about your application. If you know you want to study abroad, start looking at the schools, start looking at those schools that take your course, start looking at those schools that will accept you, start searching for those schools. Let your head be in the game, even though it's not really fully there, but start to familiarize yourself with those things, and start to know what it takes, start to know the requirements it takes, start to know how you begin to call your recommenders, because you will call people to help you, you will call people for money self. Like sometimes you might think you're begging, but it's not that. But starting early just gives you the platform for you to plan ahead, for you to know what to do at the time you need to write, your SOPs and all those other stuffs. And the last thing I'm going to add is do it yourself. So I know that many people would say that, okay, I could just give someone else to do it for me. I started with that approach, and I can tell you it didn't work it. So, and when I started doing it myself, I realized the process and what it took for me to apply to these tools myself. So do it yourself. When you understand the process yourself, you would understand what it is. You understand, because application has different stages, right? It has different levels. Application is not just saying you're applying to the schools. When you are applied, there are another process you have to take. There are other things you have to take. So those process, try to want to know those process yourself. And at the end of the day, you will know it's worth it. So that'll be all from me.
Wow. Thank you so much, Faith. I think that answer was very splendid. One thing I actually captured from there is the fact that you have to do it yourself. Thank you. So we have, from what I am seeing so far, we have up to 28 participants here. Just a little flashback, please. Just if you have any questions to our panelists, you are advised to kind of write them down or just kindly send them in the chat box, and then we will be able to actually come there to be able to respond. We can gradually inform or remind our speakers or our panelists so to be able to address them. With that being said, let us quickly go to Mr. Akinsinya, please. He's an author, and of course, probably he could come out to address this question too. Like I said, it's actually a general question to everyone. Mr. Akinsinya, please, if you are here, please come up.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible, if I may ask?
You are very audible. Please proceed. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. So yes, my pronouns he, him, and my name's Akinyi Claude, Akinsinya. You can call me Claude. But I also wanted to ask the question in regards to the point. I think what we've got to understand when it comes to education, and especially for people who are applying, one of the key things is important is to know your contacts, and also when it comes to what support you may need in education, be clear and also transparent with the support that you are required. So especially when it comes to like the element of smooth experience when it comes to education, that the support is there and that it is catered for you as a student when you are starting your academic journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I apologize sincerely for the time. So we will want to go to the second round of questions. Let me come again. Our dear participants, were they actually clear? So we'll just be able to continue to the next phase of this discussion, please. Kindly just raise your hands or just send us at least a message to say, yes, they are audible indeed, because the true essence of this is to actually ensure that you understand what we are doing, not just to hear. Kindly let me know whether you are understanding them very clearly, please. Yes. Maybe we can have another more yes to identify they are audible. Thank you. Thank you. So let us move to the second round of questions. And this is going to be to this part of the section is actually going to be individual questions. It's actually going to be individual questions. And so let me just get to one of these questions, please. Okay.
You can't
Please. Okay. So here we are. So we want to go back to Faith. Faith?
Yeah.
So even though there are particular questions that were actually given, but I think some of them have already been answered from the explanations given. I think you spoke on some of them already. So I want to know from you. I assume I am a college student and I want to apply. Let's say I am a secondary high school student and I want to apply to a university. If I may ask, what do you think actually going to have me captured, or what do you think will be embedded in my?
Sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I think you are muted.
Oh, sorry. I'm very sorry. So I was asking, there are some questions you've already answered from the various explanations given. And so I
Okay.
want to know from the various speakers here. So let me start off firstly with you. I'm applying for this I'm applying for this program, and then probably I have some fears that I may not be accepted. If I may ask, what exactly do you think I can embed in my application that will make me stand out amongst all other applicants? Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of statement of purpose, is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Personal
sure.
statement. Oh, okay. So the first thing I'm going to say about personal statement is tell your own story and your experience. I think many people are used to, or a lot of people want to write stories that is touching, that is sad, that is, to the to the heart, but you want your reader to know you are from a poor background, or you want your reader to know that you really need this money, or all those stuffs of all those kind of things and all. You don't have to really show, even though you're not from a poor background, some people will still say they're from a poor background. You don't really have to show that saddening kind of story and feel that will compel or that will convince them to take you. Just tell your story, tell your experience. They want to know what you know. They want to know what you've gone through. You don't have to be emotional about it. You just want to lay out what you have gained about what you want to, what you want to come and study. So you don't have to show that saddening part. That's the first thing I'm going to say about that. Then another thing I'm going to say about writing your personal statement and your statement of purpose is that try to follow instructions. And I think this really happened to me during the time I was applying to so many schools. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, okay, because this school is asking for statement of purpose, this school is also asking for statement of purpose. I might sometimes forget to look at each instructions that school is asking for your statement of purpose. So different schools ask something that they want you to write about. So try to follow instructions about each school statement of purpose. So that's also important. And another thing I would say, I know I also spoke about starting early about your application. For writing your statement of purpose, start early. There will be time that you would want to rush, but it's better for you to start early. So starting early is where you now need those support. So if you are someone who doesn't know how to write it yet, reach out to people, reach out to those who can help you. Oh, how will I go about this? Can you help me writing this? And they say good writing is in good editing. So it's not really about you just putting everything out there. How well is your statement of purpose written? How many people has reviewed it? How many people has guided you in the track? It's not just you writing and say, oh, I'm done with my statement of purpose and then I submit it. Give people to review your statement of purpose as much as possible, so that it doesn't just make sense to you, it makes sense to others. Because things that make sense to you, that oh, I've written everything, a lot of people can see that there are mistakes there and they'll be like, oh, I don't think you've added this, or you have to restructure this and do all those stuff. That's another thing. And another thing again, to write a very compelling statement purpose is for you to don't just write your experience, write some of the weaknesses, not like the weaknesses, but something you want to gain from going to that school. Many of them are expecting that, oh, okay, you have this experience, but why are you coming to the school, right? What do you want to gain? So you're also putting it out there that, oh, I know all the stuffs, but there is this particular thing. This is why I'm applying to your school. And these are the skills I hope to gain from your school. So I think those are the things, that could help you in writing your statement of purpose. And again, write it yourself. Be the first writer, then you can now give as much people to review it and then continue to correct it. That'll be all.
That brings us to a further question to this. What strategy, if I may ask, will help, will help the students, to manage multiple applications effectively with what you have just explained? I mean, in terms of the multiple applications.
Okay. I think I was also stuck in something like this, having a lot of schools to figure out, like, what school do I have to submit this for? You have a lot of things you have to apply for and things. So I think the one thing that worked for me one time was doing a timetable for all the schools I'm applying to. So I drew out a timetable, and I'm sure others might, have other good strategies for this. But for me, I drew out a timetable for all the schools I was applying to, the requirements that is needed, the things I have to submit, the professors I have to message. So I'm always I'm always keeping in track. Okay, this school, have I submitted this? Have I not submitted this? So I'm always keeping in track what I've written. I'm always keeping in track what I need to submit. Do I need to get back to my undergrad school to send transcripts to them? So the timetable, the table, you can just create it on Excel sheet. The table is just guiding me and be like, oh, I still need to do this. Oh, I still need to fix this. And sometimes if I think I don't want to apply to this school again, I could just remove it, right? If I think that I need to pay application fee for this, or I need to start looking for how I need to get money for it. So I think one way for you to do that is for you to have that plan, just like have that plan written. It's not just in your head now, but have it written in a very well composed way, where you can see everything at once and be like, oh, this school. As you look at more schools, you begin to add it again on those tables. I think that will help you if you have multiple, applications.
Thank you so much, Faith. And so at this time, please, let me ask our next panelist here, Mr. Akinsanya, if I may ask, please. I think this is actually a question that almost every student will want to know, especially if they want to apply for certain opportunities, as such. The question here is, what strategies can help students manage multiple applications effectively? Mr. Akinsanya, if you're here, please.
Yes. Well, first and foremost, I think it's important to look at your time capacity. But if you are looking at an application process, it's important to look at the module that you are considering to apply for. If you look at the reference points of which points you can refer to in regards to making your personal statement bold and kind of get the attention of the application courses that you're doing, then you should have no problems. I would also say it's important to break it down within the kind of structure of your personal statement, using mind maps, and any way that it's easy for you to produce your personal statement is the best way of next steps when it comes to applying for those different multiple courses.
Thank you. So this brings us to a further question. How can students choose the right university and programs for their needs? I'm still to you, Mr. Akinsanya.
Sorry, could you repeat that question again, please?
How can students choose the right university and programs for their needs?
Sure. So I think it's important to look at the pastoral care, so meaning the support care, the also care that's going to be able to meet the student, and also if you can kind of imagine your future being at that placement and kind of imagine how you are going to settle in. So, because if you're thinking about it, if you're going to a place that's going to be catering you for 3 or 4 years, then you got to kind of look at all aspects. So even the social kind of aspects, but also the resources and materials that are on offer. So I think having those elements in mind then will be the kind of best way of deciding how you are able to start at that place.
Thank you so much. So far, we actually want to change our strategies for now. Let us join Philip. Philip, if you are here, please. We want to know from you. I think this question was actually posted to Faith as well. We want to know what strategies can help students manage multiple applications effectively.
Yes, nice question. And I think my points or my strategies are not too different from Faith's. So what I did when I was applying last year for my master's program, I had like a list of schools I wanted to apply to, like based on my interest. I think I had about 20 schools or so. So I had a list. And so what I did was I used like Google Sheets, and using Google Sheets, I had, of course, various columns you get. So first, there is a column for like the school I wanted to apply to. Okay, I'm applying to this school. And another column was dedicated to like the application deadline. When is the application closing? And I also had a column for like the program itself, or a link to the website, something like a hyperlink, just so I want to check out something, I know exactly that, okay, this is where I should look. I had like a hyperlink, and I also had like a duration, like how long is the program? Is it a 1 year program? Is it for 2 years? Is it for 1 year, 6 months, and a whole lot of things? And I also had like a column that speaks to like the country where the university is located. Is it in Europe? Is it in the US? Is it in Canada? You get. So I also had that. And what else? And key contact person from the school. You get, in a situation wherein I have question, who should I reach out to? So I guess circumstances may be different. Probably I use that because I had like the resources at my disposal, sorry, to use like the Google Sheets. Probably for others, they may use a sheet of paper, like or like fit like an Excel or what have you. So it just depends on what works best. But for me, I think using a Google Sheet is a bit better. You get, to help you like prioritize, or to help you have like a roadmap of the things you're supposed to do. And I also realized that depending on the program you're applying to, you also need recommendation. So for recommendations specifically, the strategy I used was, as much as I had like a list of schools, I looked exactly, okay, is this, for instance, am I applying for like the MasterCard scholarship? Of course, if I'm applying for the MasterCard scholarship, for some of us on this call who have probably applied, we know exactly for MasterCard, they are keen on community service, leadership, academics, about 3 or 4 things. So I tried as best as possible to also find recommenders within my network, or people that actually know me more, that can speak to the pillars of the MasterCard Foundation. You get? So I think when it comes to like strategizing, you may want to have like something to keep track of your application. So for me, I used a Google Sheets, and to some extent a Google Doc, especially for my recommenders. So basically that's it.
Thank you so much, Philip. Thank you so much. So let me get back to Faith. I think it's a general question so far to every one of you, but I want to begin with Faith, and then we can use like 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes, to be able to wrap up with this question so far. And it's basically about what strategies can students, write, using a compelling personal statements or essays that will enable them to find scholarships. So let us begin with Faith on this question, and then the rest of you can also be able to answer it. It's much more about scholarship at this time. What personal statement, can be able to, can a student be able to apply, to their essays to gain a scholarship, please? Let me begin with Faith on this question, please. Faith.
Yeah, okay. So there are different ways you can, get scholarships. Like Philip said, you can get, external scholarships. You can get other scholarships, that can pay for your school. But there are also ways you can also get internal scholarship. Like for me, I'm on an internal, okay, we call it assistantship, right? So, but if you want to get funded for your school, how I'm going to put it, sometimes some people would say, oh, message this professor like before applying to that school, or yeah, most time people say that kind of thing and all, like, but I'm going to use myself as an example. So I applied to the school first, and when I wanted to get scholarship, because my course was public health, so I'm in the track of public health, and getting funded for a professional course is very difficult. So I knew from that point. My undergrad was in microbiology. I knew I could, just message professors, tell them about my experience, and I could get funding. But just coming from a different background and then trying to get scholarship for public health was very difficult. So I applied to those schools normally. And afterwards, I started reaching out, sending cold emails to professors and sending cold emails to them. So for every schools I'm applying to, I go through the faculty lists and I see the professors who has my same interest, like they align with my research interest. And then if I see one that aligns with it, even no matter how little, it just aligns with the it's just perfect for my research interest, I send cold emails to them. So try start by sending cold emails to those professors that align with your interest. And just know that it's going to take a lot of time, because a lot of them will not respond. You're going to send cold emails to a lot of them, send your CVs, send all these things to them, and you will get discouraged because a lot of them are also not going to respond. But another thing is that a lot of people you send cold emails to would respond. So when I send those cold emails, I sent my CV, my work experience, and I was getting no feedback. It could be discouraging, but just keep at it. Check your emails constantly, because sometimes you might be discouraged and you just leave your emails. Check your emails constantly, because 1 out of 20 you send cold emails to might respond to you, and that could be months after, and maybe you don't have that opportunity again. So send cold emails is very helpful. And another thing I'm going to say is, one thing that helped me was, for every school I was applying to, I tried to know who the graduate coordinator for my department was. So I tried to make that relationship with my graduate coordinator, because that's the job. That's our job actually, for her to relate to the incoming graduate students and also graduate students in that department generally. So I tried making that relationship with her, and afterwards she was always sending opportunities about what is in the school, what's the department, if it's an RA, if it's a TA, as long as it aligns to my interest, right? Because I cannot go to a country that is not my father's land and be stranded. I need that money, right? So you have to find ways to fund yourself. In fact, funding can even take longer than your admission, right? Some of the times you might even get your admission and you are still on your funding 6 months later, 8 months later. It's taking time, but don't leave the country without being funded. It is risky. So try to get funded. And if just keep at it, someone will recommend you. I'm sorry I'm taking time. So, but that is it for me. Always keep that contact, and I'm sure it's going to help you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So far, I think we are almost at the end of the individual questions. So just very lastly, one of the challenges young people actually find on these applications, even gaining admissions to rural universities, is actually with the issues surrounding mentorship. If each of you can just take 2 minutes, what do you make up of mentorship? Do you really need a mentor, to be able to advance to the next level? What do you think? What's their take on this? Probably you can provide us this explanation using your own experience, your own, challenges, or probably opportunities that you've advanced into while applying. Thank you.
You're talking about mental state, like the mental health.
Mentorship.
Okay.
Do students actually sometimes the students actually don't understand what they want because they never had their foundation. So what do you make up of mentorship for high school students or for secondary students who are actually wishing to apply for scholarships or for opportunities to go to college? That is the question. Mentorship.
Oh. Okay, mentorship. Okay. I think mentorship is just you reaching out to those that you think that can be of help, reaching out to those that are experienced in those things and working out to them and helping them to guide you through the process. So even though for me applying, I was doing it myself and I still was having this kind of experience in all those things. I still needed people to talk to, especially most of the time your friends may even already be in the US. Try to talk to them. Try to ask them for a little bit of their time and let them guide you through the process that helped them. Let them guide you through what helped them, gain that scholarship, help them gain that school, the admission, the techniques, the tricks, the tips that they used, right? So try to reach out to your friends, try to reach out to those that experience. And there are organizations now, there are a lot of organizations that wants to do study abroad, right? Even though you don't want to walk through, like that's for undergrad, right? Sometimes you don't even really know how to start about it. Try to reach out to those who knows a broad idea about it and ask for advice about them. And then you can further start asking around you, asking what kind of things you need to do, how you should start, and things like that. Reach out to your friends who are already studying abroad, let them guide you through, and then you to start on time.
Thank you so much. Mr. Akinsinya, can you please address this question on mentorship? What is your own take about secondary students actually seeking mentorship even before enrolling at the universities or college? What is the take on mentorship, please?
I think mentorship is vital, and this is at any stage of education. And it's also equally important when with mentorship, you can have that guidance to ensure you have a smooth education transition, whether that's through school to college to higher education. And basically, it's important to have those support networks and also advice networks in place, especially for a student at any level of education. So mentorship is really vital.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akinsinya. So let us lastly hear from Philip, and then we're going to our participants to be able to post their questions. So far, I'm not seeing questions in the chat box, but probably they want to make it live. So yes, so we get to you, Philip. What is your own take on the question about mentorship?
Yes, I think we can't in any way downplay the significance of mentorship, especially in academia and in almost all spectrum of life. We can't downplay the significance of mentorship. So I think mentorship is key for high school students, when it comes to like applying, and even when it comes to you figuring out like why you are applying and what's when and the type of schools you are intending to apply to, the programs you intend to do. So I think mentorship plays like a key role in that. And broadly speaking as well, I think we can't also limit it to mentorship. Probably we can as well have like issues around guidance. You don't necessarily need to be like a mentor to someone before you help out or guide with regards to the process. So maybe guidance generally also works out well. For me, honestly speaking, I when I was doing my applications, I didn't have like a mentor. I did almost everything on my own. And the significant lesson I got from that is that don't suffer alone. It's always good to reach out, especially when you need help. You get, because we all know that information is power. You might as well struggle. With regards to an application for almost 1 week or 2 weeks or a month or more. Whereas someone would just say, okay, this is what you should do. This is how you should do. This is how you should do it. This is who you should reach out to. And I think you'd be good to go. And which is why sessions like this are actually very, 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 very important. And I wish when I was doing my undergraduate application, I had something like this, or I had attended something like this. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Philip. So that does it from our end, actually. Let us now join our participants so they can be able to post their questions. Probably they have some questions that they wanted to address live. So just if you are participating here, please, if you have a question to any of our panelists, we'll entertain those questions. So we'll take at most two questions, if there is any, please. Our dear participants. Okay, so I'm so sorry, Mr. Akinsinya, I think you wanted to say something about this question or something else? You wanted to speak actually, so let us please listen to what you wanted to say as we move on to the batch of questions.
Sure,
Probably
no
this.
problem.
Yes, I'm not seeing any one hand. Oh, okay now. Okay, so Mr. Akinsin, I can conclude and we come back to the hands that are raised for the questions. Please continue.
Sure, no problem. So I wanted to add on, I think it's important that for all individuals who are going through the application process or any student of any age, we're never too old or young to know our educational rights and also our student rights. So it's important as well that we are able to educate ourselves about the policies and legislation when it comes to education and the importance of knowing what things we may need to be supported with, and also in the time when education is being deprived the investment that is required, knowing how to ensure that we can demand action or elements of smooth education. Thank you.
Please, Nikki. Okay, thank you. I think you've addressed that question already. So we have one of the participants who actually wants to ask a question, Mr. Foucault.
Yes, I've got a question. Hi, everybody. My name is Tsepo. I don't know, do you want to see my face? Or it's fine if I, I've got a question for Faith first. So Faith, I want to know, how then do you find scholarships that are abroad, that are not within your own country? Because of you do state that it's very vital for you to not leave your own country without getting funding, right? And so I assume that you spend a whole lot of time doing research about scholarships and things like that. And so now, what's the first thing that students can do? Because of, for example, the only one that I know is YALI, or YALI is it's like a leadership program where they assist with like online and hybrid, where they give opportunities for entrepreneurs and other leaders that have projects and programs that they want to run. And so, yeah, I don't want to go further, but I just hope you got my question.
Yeah, so your question was how can you get funding not within your country but outside your country? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I'm supposed to also mention this, that when you're searching and researching for schools, one of the requirements you're also looking at schools abroad, when you're looking for schools abroad, is does the school fund international students? If the school you're looking at does not fund international students, is a no-no, because you might have to pay, or you might just stress yourself out just applying to that school at the end of the day when you cannot go. So in your research, look for schools at first that give scholarship to international students. That's your first step, right? You are researching for those schools. Look for those schools that says there is scholarship for international students. And one way international students can get funded in schools abroad, like the US, is through graduate research assistantship or graduate teaching assistantship. So graduate research assistantship means you are going to be a research assistant under a professor that aligns with your research interest. And teaching assistant means you're going to be teaching for a professor, or maybe you're going to be teaching for a department in a course that aligns with your research interest. It is very important that it aligns with it, because at the time that they're accepting you as a teaching assistantship, they expect you to understand the topic you want to teach the students, right? So, for example, you got a teaching assistantship for chemistry, and you don't have a background in chemistry, then you are going to be at fault, right? If something is good, you may not really deliver. and things like that. So graduate research assistantship, graduate teaching assistantship is a way for you to get, funded safely in the school, and you are working at the same time, and you are also, going to school at the same time. So that's the two best ways to get internal scholarships in the schools. And some schools will also have other scholarships, like from the dean, from the dean of the school, or maybe from the department. Maybe they are giving like $1,000 for something and things like that. As smart as it is, you could also apply for those ones. But the easy route most times is, saying to a professor, I want to work for you, right? I want to work for you. Can I be your research assistant, or can I be your teaching assistant? So, and those are the two best ways I can say.
Thank you so much. So I think we've exhausted all of the time already. So please, I want to say thank you to every one of you, the participants, especially to those who were able to follow the discussion to the end. I want to say thank you so much. Our dear panelists, to you, Philip, it was actually an awesome discussion that we had. Our Faith, wow, I think you were actually marvelous in most of your explanations. So Mr. Akinsinya also did extremely well. So, okay, so I've been elected. We will have Philip to address the question being asked by one of the participants. Then we can conclude, please. And then go into at least 5 minutes into breakout section for networking purposes. Thank you, Philip. So you are welcome, Philip.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to like contribute briefly with regards to Tepo's question. So, another way you can as well get funding opportunities is, let's say, for instance, for some schools, the the scholarship is completely different from the admission itself. You get, so you may be having like an understanding of the scholarships available is also key, and you could as well know that, okay, for instance, let's say Oxford, there are several scholarships at Oxford. So once you go through like their website, you may also want to check for like other opportunities that are there. But that's aside, another thing you may want to do is when it comes to like knowledge of the available scholarships. I guess this is like an area of the significance of social media. So for me, what I've also found very, very helpful is following like influential people on social media. It could be LinkedIn, it could be maybe X or what have you. They as well post scholarship opportunities, and you can as well bank on that and apply. And there are also youth opportunity platform that you can as well maximize. For instance, there is this one called Opportunity Desk. They also post like scholarship opportunities. So you may want to follow their page maybe on X or LinkedIn, or maybe Facebook, Instagram, or whatever social media platform you use. There is also this one called Opportunities for Youth. So you may also want to check them out. They also share like scholarship opportunities. So yeah, just maximize social media as well.
Thank you, Philip. So far, that does it for this section. As I was saying, thank you so much to our participants, our dear panelists. It has been an awesome discussion. One of the participants actually asked a question that has already been addressed, whether there's a certification for attending this program. Of course, that question was addressed already. Yes, of course, there will be certification. With this being said, let me say thank you so much to everyone. We're back now to our organizers, where we will go into 5 minutes of breakout sections for networking purposes. Thank you, our dear panelists. I've been your moderator, Moba Isaac Flomo from Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Then yeah, that was it. I was just
Thank you very much.
Hi, I don't know, but I think your mic is muted. I don't know if you're aware.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Shepo. Yes, so we're going to have a very brief breakout session for the next 3 to 5 minutes, just to get to know a bit more about the people in the meeting at the moment, where you can get to talk to them, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes for the last session for today. Then we hope to see you all tomorrow and on Friday. So we will just facilitate the breakout rooms now, just so that we could have people join in. Then we would be back soon.
Can you please send me the request again?
Okay, we're about to assign people again to different breakout rooms. So just get to know people, ask questions, network. In about 4 minutes, we'll be back in.